Okay then, I thought I'd do another video for you today. I thought I'd do a little comparison, not really a versus, but just a little side-by-side comparison. I thought you might enjoy. Been doing a lot of carving with this Spyderco Delica, which has been a surprise to me. I didn't expect to be using this so much, really, to be honest with you. But it's just so fantastically sharp. And everything's right about it, really. The hand looks light, there's no real hot spots, it's the right length, pointy enough, and it's made it's made several things. I'll show you a few things that I've made recently. I've just took some pictures of these as well. The same process as the making a spatula video. I've sanded them down at the end after doing the rough and the axe work, the shaping with the knife. Then I've sanded them down, taken the corners off, done the blades, but then I've knife finished them. So this is all knife finished, all with the Delica, and I hope you agree. Let's see if I can get some focus. I mean, first of all, this is spoted Dagsaw and Schumacher again. But obviously this is spoted in a little different. It's gone a little bit further in the spoting process, so I've got a bit more of this sort of grey further along. You can see, and I've actually got some spoting dark lines in it. It's just a little bit later along in the spoting process than this was the piece in the video. You see this? This is you've got more yellows here. This is like gone darker. It's changed the colours into more of a golden colour rather than these yellows. And I've got a little bit of these, what comes along later in the spoting process. Remember, this is a sort of mid-ground in the rotting process. If you catch it too late, it'll go too punky, it'll lose too much of its substance. But if you catch it just right, you get these beautiful colours. So that's, you can see I could get it even smoother with this knife, but I like the little bit of facets which reflect the light. It shows you it's a really nice finished, grippy, and just much better than sandpaper, I think. You know, it'd be nice not to use sandpaper at all, but it's really difficult and time consuming, and I just can't get the blade like I would like it without sandpaper. So you agree, very nice colours. Again, this is same sort of spoting, same in the process as this, maybe a tiny little bit further down the log or up the log, whatever. So it's slightly different, but it's much the same as that. Another design, same thing again, all knife finished with the Delica. You agree. Beautiful colours. Oops. Getting confused with looking at the monitor. Some beautiful colours. Nice practical design again. You know, it's just stirring. So this is a bit short really, but that's the piece I have. But you can pick up things with this. And cut, you know, just stir. They're just useful little things. Ideally, I like them a little bit longer. But what you find if you're stirring in a small pan, you don't want them too long because they can fall out. Not that these were less, so if you make things too back heavy, but you know what I mean, they stick out the pan and you, I don't know, rush around. I've done that before. They've been too tall. You don't want them too tall, you want them about the right length. This is a little bit short for a pan because you can get, as you're cooking, you know, you get little the fat sort of coming up from the frying pan, so it's a little bit short, but good for a little pan. And in some ways it's you could just stick these in your, not use them in the kitchen, have them in a nice fancy little jar or whatever, nice looking jar, and keep them as a sort of prop for the kitchen, much like you would have flowers or something like that. You don't necessarily have to use them even, because they're ornamental within themselves, aren't they? Just the colours of them really. That was a little splint of wood. Couldn't, literally a very small splint, but could just make enough, and that's the sort of thing, that's an ideal little stirrer. And it brings out their colours. Again, all done with a Delica. Again, a nice little pinch on the back. Just rub your thumb over. Just ideal for stirring. Slightly, in a medium-sized pan, that would be ideal. Anyway, so I thought we'd just do a little bit of carving and just do a little bit of comparison. Oh, first of all, I'd like to say that this Fallkniven sheath pouch is really comfortable to wear. It's a really nice little black as well, nondescript but really practical, and you can forget you're wearing it. And this little Fallkniven PC, really nice locking mechanism. Obviously it's a liner lock, locks up solid, nice little shape. Obviously it's not going to come, let's see if I can focus there, it doesn't come like this obviously. See, only just, it's almost a second really. Can you see? It's just, that's the laminate there. That's what made this so difficult to sharpen. It's a pain in the ass. But it doesn't come like this. Obviously, it comes with a compound bevel, but it's sharpened to the maximum that I can take it to. Really, to be honest with you, I can't do any more with this. And the same with the Delica. They're both sharpened to the maximum that I can get them to. Maybe to do slight improvements, maybe with the Delica, but maybe slightly with this. But I mean, we're talking, for all intensive purposes, these knives, you know, 90% of what they could be, I think. I don't do 100%. So, and that's totally different. Obviously, this the PC hasn't got a clip. Plastic again, much smoother handle, more of a, I don't know, puku shape, would you call that? Attractive, nice and light. I think it's slightly heavier than the Delica. This is much more grippy. It is a bit harder on the hands when you're carving, and this jimping on the back, just rub your finger a tiny bit, but it's not a problem. One thing I do like about this PC above and it's not a fault, you can't really call it a fault of the Delica, it's not, because it's the shape of the blade, it's what makes this blade so sharp. But in the point of view of wood carving, you see how thick the PC is. It's much nicer on the thumb, because you do a lot of pushing with the thumb. But like I said, this is not a versus, it's just a comparison, just a few thoughts. And there's no way that this is as sharp as this. The Delica is just phenomenally sharp. But I do remember really enjoying using this knife. So what I've got here, probably have to do a couple parts again. Another Stag's Horn sumac. I've sanded it down, I've done the blade and the corners, and I've just put a little bit of oil on it to make it a little bit darker, so it's easier for the camera, so it doesn't overexpose so easy, but it's easier for you to see every cut that I do. And I thought I'd just take these two knives and finish this work off like I have the others, just knife finish it, and see if that might be some interest to you. Anyway, I'll adjust the camera and we'll be back soon. Okay, here we go then. Right, let's start off with the PC. There, so what should we start on? Somewhere you can see. So we'll go on this back here. Right, let's swap, see what we got here. Yeah, not night and day. You can see it. Right, back again. Yeah, definitely a steeper bite angle. And this is a one-sided blade as well. Nothing I did, it came like it. I might need a stroke. That's done. Yeah, see, I'm taking really slowly, that's really nice. That. Can't argue with that. That's such a sharp knife. So steeply profiled. Let's see if it'll push cut. And I'll pull, no, I'll pull the Rizlet. Well, it went until it'll fold. Right, so let's see if you can see what I mean now. I'll zoom in. Just sharpened it. No, that's the wrong type. That's the weird part of the wood. Let's try it on again. See that? It would rather come out this way. I can tell that this would be the better way to come out. Yeah. Yeah, see, that's so smooth. Yeah, none of my knives were ever as sharp as this. This is easily the sharpest knife I've ever used. And a lot of that is the design of the blade. The profile is so steep already. It's such a thin blade with that super steel and then a really steep convex on it. I mean, it's just, you can't get that with a bigger knife. It's just, you just can't do it. It's the same as that. This knife, because it's thick, it's just not as thin. It hasn't got, I'll stop to use this. Definitely straight away I'm feeling a steeper bite angle. So I'm going like that, and I'm thinking that I would be taking off, that would be my working angle with a Delica, but I'm having to go steeper. Yeah, much steeper biting angle. No, really noticeable for me. You won't see the difference, I suppose, but I can. It's nowhere near the same sort of. Yeah, see, it doesn't. I'll go back to this. I'll go to the same spot. Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward spot there. I can feel it doesn't want to come out like down here. Yeah, straight away. See, I'm going to make a cut, and I've got to steepen the knife up. See, I'm not so with the grain. I'm more scraping, and it feels more lumpy coming out because the bite angle steeper, the ejection bevel steeper, and I get that lumpy feel. The wood comes out like dunk 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 rather than a running with the grain more. It's doing all right. Let's go down the handles. Yeah, you can see there. Let's see if I can. Oh, I'm at 32. I'm full zoom. Let's try it this way then. This is always a good test. Delica. Digging in a little bit. Let's do a little bit on the back here. He says, nope, try across. No, it won't do that. No, it does, actually does want to come out this way. It's just been a bit weird. See what a beautiful knife, beautiful finisher it is of wood. Just so accurate. Let's go to the PC. Yep, straight away I've gone to noticeably steepen the angle for the bite. I do like this knife though, it's a very comfortable knife. The texture of the Spyderco is quite aggressive, and there's no felt, because that's what you want. It gives you good purchase, but for wood carving obviously it can get a bit abrasive on the hands, whereas this it's got enough of a grip, but it's never going to rub your hands raw if you're using it for extended periods of time like the Spyderco does. But again, it's no fault, it's just two different approaches. If it was wet, you'd rather have this Delica than this PC. I'm surprised that that I haven't been tempted to take the pocket clip off the Delica. Actually, I thought that would rub my hand when I was carving, but it doesn't. Your hand seems to fit around the clip, which is pretty goes to show how well designed the clip is. But it doesn't rub. I just don't even notice it, or barely anyway. It certainly doesn't cause a hot spot or rub me or anything like that. That's the difficult bit, matching up the layers on a turn. Doing alright though. Let's use the blade away from me a bit, because this is going to be a steeper bite angle again. This blade is slightly one-sided. See straight away now my thumb likes this back of this blade. Doesn't particularly like the Delicas. It's really sharp. Again, it's not a fault, it's just that you can't blame it for. I mean, the reason why the blade is as sharp as it is because it's as thin as it is. So you know, you can't blame it. It's not a downside or a negative. It's just an observation. See, I'm getting into using this knife. I really enjoy using this knife. I don't know what, it's just such a comfortable knife to use. I'm getting sort of carried away. I can feel myself getting. I mean, this is what I'm like. Once I start, I go away in my own little world, just carving away. And this knife's, even though it's not as sharp as the Delica, it's perfectly usable. I could definitely finish this work with this knife. Again, I could probably do with a little top up on the stroke in a minute. Not that it's really noticeably dropping away, but lots of little top ups with the stroke definitely is the way to go when you're knife finishing. You get that fresh off the stroke sharpness, should we call it. Tickle, I can feel it, especially on the tip. So I use the tip more than any other part of the knife. So we'll do the same thing, do a test afterwards. Again, just on the bevel now. Really just take any junk ones, then. So now I'm working towards the corner, ramping up. That's probably about the corner there. You know, when I say corner, it's a round corner. So I can be at several tiny little increments, but it's not scraping across the edge. It's not edge polishing. It's the convex just before the edge, if I say the corner. You know what I mean? I'm nearly at the edge, but it's not a corner as in a right angle or anything like that. It's a curved corner. Right, now I'm going to ramp up. I'm going to drag the edge really gentle. Right, to the other side. I'm still on the corner, ramp up a bit more, probably still on the corner. Scraping very lightly. Edge polishing. You can feel, because you can feel when it's on the edge, and you can see it's sort of leaving a slight mark on the stroke. But I am doing it really gently. And you can go backwards and forwards. Obviously you've got to be so careful now, because if you're over too much of this, and you're taking your edge away, you know, and I wouldn't say I've got the perfect. I haven't got it completely sussed out that I can get the absolute maximum number of strokes out of a knife, by no means, but I don't know, I must be pretty close, because I can get a lot of strokes out of one 1 stone sharpen. Yeah, again, see, that's, it's not Delica sharp, but it's just gliding through that. It's left no, see, there's no jaggedy. It's a clean cut, so that's really nice. Zoom in again. Yeah. Digging in a little bit. Okay, went past our recording limit, so I've adjusted the camera. Let's do this. Let's use the knife away now from me, just to do up to the well, what do you call this? The blade. Dig in there a little bit. Ooh, God, a bit much there. Yeah, I'll take this back now. I've left a little divot there. So you want to be a little bit careful of, especially with a longer knife. It's easy to stab yourself in the see, I've got a little stab there. That was from the flipping Ronin 2. It's a bit longer, and I was holding the work and then just had me on the point. Oh, you little bugger. That's why I like these short blades, because you can hold, you haven't got to be so worried if there's, you've got a lot of overreach on a longer blade. So easy to forget where you, just to cut into where you, how you're holding the work, whereas it's a lot less to, I can work over here. If I had a longer blade now, I'd have to hold it down there underneath or something. So I like these shorter blades. I like the Delica length. This is the same as this, perfect length for wood carving these small pieces like this. So I'm actually changing the shape of this now, rather than just knife finishing. Thin it out a bit. See that? I can feel now that that's lost its stroke sharpness. It's sort of settling down into its normal sharpness now. Yeah. So I'll give that a little tickle now. Anyway, that's probably enough of that. But I hope you enjoyed that comparison, just a few insights on some knives and maybe some observations that you've made yourself.